KIMT News 3's Gwen Siewert is in Studio 3 with a special report on the mystery of why.
Ever wonder about the name of your hometown, your favorite park, or even streets you pass through every day? Or maybe some of the most distinct features of our landscape have left you wondering why? Here's your answer. 18,000 people call Albert Lea home. It's a name many don't think about, but the town got this moniker in a case of chicken or the egg. Here I am at beautiful Fox Lake. It's one many of you probably know, and it's a lot closer than you may think. Born in Tennessee, Colonel Albert Miller Lea surveyed Fox Lake in 1835, and for a job well done, the engineer got the body of water renamed after him, and then the town took his name as well 2 decades later. Another curious spot in the land between the lakes has gone by several names. This is Monkey Island, this is Dress Island, this is Hansen Island, and this is Catherine Island.
Gas Hansen lived across from it when it was called Hansen Island, and then more recently Mr. Dress donated the land to the city, and so now it is known as Dress Island. So, you know, things do change with time.
Another source of pride for Albert Lea is their Danish blood, or scales. So why is the Little Mermaid making a splash? She's here to resemble the one in Copenhagen's main harbor. The park was established by the same European transplants proud of their ancestry. That tie travels south and east to the town of St. Ansgar. It's Danish too. Not this Danish, but this Danish. St. Ansgar is the apostle of the north and was a French Benedictine monk named the patron of Scandinavia. Head west and you'll go through Worth County, where a manly man traveled down Highway 9 and married a fertile woman. That's a North Iowa legend that many locals say still lives because it probably has happened. That's simple. So we know who Albert Lea is, but who the heck is Charles and why does he get a city? The funny thing is, the guy who founded this town wasn't even named Charles. Joseph Kelly named this Winnebago Indian village Charlestown in 1851 in honor of his son. He was informed there was already an Iowa town with that name, so it was switched to St. Charles and then Charles City, America's hometown as we know it today. Where I'm standing right now is actually the second highest point in the state of Iowa. At 1,450 feet above sea level, this little beauty was built. But do you know why? The observation tower was part of a 1934 project for the Civilian Conservation Corps, all part of the New Deal era. It put local unemployed and unmarried men to work. For the earliest of settlers, the knobby hills of the 700-acre area were like pilots in the otherwise flat terrain. The lumps and bumps come from the last ice retreat about 15,000 years ago, dropping off glacial erratics of igneous rocks that come from hundreds of miles from here. Same thing happened a little further south. A few people might know where I am right now. I'm standing in front of one of Iowa's very first imports. This infamous hunk of Norris Springs granite is actually a glacial cast-off, and now it has its own curb. Boulder Park was founded in 1869 by Edson Gaylord. The big rock from prehistoric Minnesota stayed for an uncomplicated reason. He liked the way it looked. There are, of course, other popular meeting sites in North Iowa. Long Beach, State Park, Oakwood, Bayside, PM Park, Dodges Point, and Tanglefoot. Wait, Tanglefoot? It's not as unusual of a name as you may think. This bay area of Clear Lake got its nickname because the underbrush was so thick you'd get your foot tangled if you walked through it. The popular Girl Scout camp also chose to go through a name change from Gay Wood to Tanglefoot to better resemble the area they're in. The camp sits on the edge of Cerro Gordo County, also known as Fat Hill County, for those of you who know habla español. So why this Spanish name in a land without many fat hills at all?
It's named after the Battle of Cerro Gordo during the Mexican War. A lot of Iowa troops, that was right after Iowa became a state at the same time as the Mexican War, 1840s.
Just 7 years after statehood, John Long platted out the city of Mason City. It actually already existed, but he combined 2 towns. To this day, some of you may be living in Masonic Grove, and some of you may be living in Shibboleth.
They wanted to name it Masonville, and the post office informed him there already was a Masonville, Iowa, which there is. It's, I believe, southeast of Iowa City. So he had to name it Mason City, and that's the end of it.
Like the county, the city wanted to pay some dues too. So after creating Federal Avenue, they put streets heading east in the order of when they came into statehood. Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and so on. Federal Avenue essentially splits the town of Mason City in half. Going that way, you got states. Coming this way, you got presidents. But that's where things start to get a little bit tricky. One of our most noteworthy presidents is noticeably missing. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, the streets head west. But where is Leader 16? Old Abe Lincoln. He doesn't even get a street. The city says they don't really know why Lincoln Street is missing, just that it was probably planned out, but once houses were numbered with new street names in 1916, a Lincoln never went in and they didn't want to change it. FYI, for those of you living on 15th Street Southeast, you actually do live on Lincoln Street, in pre-1914 Mason City at least. So really, what is in a name? If you can't pronounce it, that may be a problem.
Mower County.
Mower County.
This is Mower.
It's spelled like my lawnmower, so I'm going with mower.
Mower.
How are you supposed to say it? The Historical Society assures us that the county is named after territorial legislator John Mower. So maybe all of us Mower pronouncers are really just dreaming of this Mower. But either way, you can still call it home.
Well, I've lived here all my life, and it's always been Mower.
Freeborn County is definitely easier to say, but it actually got its name from someone who never lived there. The county was created by a territorial act in 1855, so William Freeborn, a Minnesota legislator serving at the time, got to attach his moniker. He's actually from Ohio.